Today is actually a little bit different. I am on standby. Or to get called to the furthest location, I would have to drive an hour. This hospital has a gym for employees, so I am going to just go straight to the gym after work. Primary care is such a cool place to be. Good morning, everyone. For anyone new here, my name is Olivia. I am a float medical assistant, and so I'm taking you along to all the different clinics that I go to. Today is actually a little bit different. I am on standby, and it's sort of similar to being on call, but honestly, I would say easier. So what happens is all the clinics that are short-staffed put in a request, and in the morning at 7 a.m., they do some calculation, and they send me to whichever clinic has the highest need. So I had no idea where I was going today until about 5 minutes ago, and I got sent to family medicine, so that is where we're going today. I honestly sometimes struggle with family medicine. I'm not sure why. I think it's just because there are so many different things and lots of like paperwork and getting records and stuff that I just am not the most familiar with. Usually everyone there is super nice and helpful, so let's go to work and see how it is. On days where I'm on standby, I have to be ready to leave my house at 7 because I cover clinics in a really broad location. So if I were to get called to the furthest location, I would have to drive an hour, and the shifts always start at 8. But I got called into one of the closer locations, so I have probably like 30 minutes of extra time this morning. So I think I'm gonna eat a real breakfast and then I'll get on the road. I made it here. I'm so glad I wore a long sleeve today because I am so cold. I should have brought a jacket too, but usually when I get inside, it's warm enough. Let's just quickly go through our daily plan today. So I'm going to work. I work until 5. And then this hospital has a gym for employees, so I'm going to just go straight to the gym after work. And then my church does a little birthday celebration every month for all the birthdays that month. So I'll be going to that. And then I went to BYU and they have their first real season basketball game today. So I'm gonna watch that and hopefully go to bed super early tonight because I have to work really early tomorrow and it's in an office that's far away. That is the plan. Obviously I can't really film at work, but if you've seen any of my other videos, I just give you a full rundown of what I did, usually after the gym. So now I just have to get the motivation to get out of my warm car, and I will see you when I get off. Okay, pardon the sirens. Still trying to figure out where they're coming from. Had a decent quad day. I usually just do a day to isolate my quads because I have had knee issues, so that was good. I'm gonna run inside really quick, scarf down some dinner, and then I'm going to a church birthday party celebration for all the birthdays in November, and then I'm watching the basketball game. Let's go inside where there's better lighting, and then I'll give you a quick debrief of family medicine today. It honestly was a pretty crazy day. There were some crazy things that happened, and yeah, it was a good one, so let's get to it. Okay, so family medicine is very different provider to provider, and funnily enough, I was called in to work with my own primary care provider. It's really rare that that happens, but it's kind of an interesting work dynamic we just are super professional, and obviously he doesn't disclose anything about my personal health, but he is a great provider. I love working with him, and I also love him as a provider, so it works out. But that was just kind of funny. I did 3 annual wellness visits today for Medicare, and usually what that entails is just a lot of answering or asking the patient questions. There's a mini cognitive assessment, and then just a bunch of questions about their health. This is usually for more elderly patients, and so sometimes it can take a while to get all that done, but I enjoy it because I get to spend a lot more time in the room talking to the patient. We had a few same-day sick appointments. Most primary care doctors will save a couple slots in their day for people who need to be seen day of. So that's for things like upper respiratory infections, sinus infections, UTIs, all the good stuff. I had probably 3 of those, and I mean, obviously I don't want anyone to be sick, but it is kind of nice because it adds variety to the day. There were also a lot of medication checks. For certain medications, in order for them to be refilled, you have to have a doctor's visit every so often. So a lot of people come in just to get their medications refilled and to talk about if they're having any side effects or just managing their medications. Some other visits we saw today was for depression. Primary care can take care of a lot of mental health issues, and this provider in particular, I think that's something he's really good at being on top of and asking every single patient if how they're doing in that department. And then we had some fertility questions today and a few more sensitive visits. So honestly, primary care is such a cool place to be. I think it's really underrated. There's so much variety, but unlike urgent care where there's variety, there's actually well-established relationships and continuity of care, which I think is cool. That's something that I don't see much of as a float and previously an urgent care medical assistant. So if you like to build relationships with patients, I would say this is a great place to do that and to be kind of their home base, because we do send a lot of referrals out from family medicine, but ultimately everything comes back to the primary care provider. They're the ones who are seeing like the big picture and everything come together. In this clinic, I did help out a lot with phone calls and messages to patients. These are for things like letting them know what their test results are, or if they ask a question, just getting more information about their question so that I can get the answer from the provider. As a medical assistant, especially in primary care, I feel like you're sort of the middleman. There are some things that you can answer or that you can propose to the provider, and other things that you just have to route directly to the provider to answer to get help with. A lot of the messages are for medication refills, and so how our clinic works is we can propose the refill, we can get the order started. The provider has to okay it and be the ultimate signer before that goes through. There are some prior auths in primary care, and honestly, I feel like I can't really speak to that since I don't do them as a float. I feel like there's less prior auth than in some of the more specialty clinics, probably just because the providers are prescribing more generic medication and less specialized that you need to go through a lot of hoops to get. But yeah, today was overall a super great day. I am always happy when I get called in on standby and I leave feeling fulfilled and like I helped out, and I feel like I definitely did that today. If you're looking into becoming a medical assistant in any field, or if you're looking into family medicine as any healthcare worker, I would highly recommend it. I am going to go to both of my events tonight, so I think I will say goodbye here. But I, again, am a float medical assistant, and so I go to so many different specialties. So if you're interested in learning more about healthcare as a whole, or about medical assisting specifically, then follow along for more content, and I will see you at the next clinic. Bye guys.